YouTube. Let's go.
Time alone when I am perfectly willing to give her everything she needs. I don't care about her past. I don't care what she's been through. I just wanna feel one night with good love, baby. That's all I wanna do. So baby, if you got that feeling, well, I wanna give you that midnight healing. You know what I'm talking about, yeah. Just turn the lights down low. Come right on over here to me. I know you don't want no commitments, baby. I just wanna set your body free. And I don't care what's going on in the night outside my door. I just wanna get your head right, baby. Give you all the love I got for sure. So baby, if you've got that feeling, you know I wanna give you that midnight healing. Oh, I just wanna make love to you all night long. Midnight healing, baby. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Okay. What's up, y'all? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let me make sure the show is up everywhere. Let me make sure we're good. All right. Okay. All right. Comments are on Facebook and YouTube as well as X. All right. Good morning, y'all. Episode, welcome to HOPE, which is, you guys know what Friday mornings are about. It's HOPE East, where we visit the east side of the planet and we have a discussion, a conversation with an artist. Today's artist is Katalina Ooma. I can't wait to bring her on. She was recommended by Sketch. We often hang out in spaces together. It just seems like as the shows grow further and further, we just keep growing with artists and brains and just lots of art intelligence. I mean, that's another show, but, this is HOP where we focus on a very specific conversation with an artist each week, 2 times a week. Monday nights is the West and Fridays is the East. So I don't want to take up too much time. I want to get started. There's a lot to go through. We have a lot of there's just a lot of information on this artist coming on right now. So um, yeah, I don't want to waste not another minute. So I'd like to welcome everybody to HOPE. And without further ado, I always forget to do this. Let me bring her up. Hang on. Okay, here we go. All right, let me close this as well. All right, there we go. Okay, let's see. All right, everything's working. All right, Kat, welcome to HOP. Right? Say hello to everybody.
Hi, GM everyone. Thanks for having me here.
All right, Kat, welcome to the show. Where we have a conversation. I don't like to call it too much. I don't like to call it an interview. It's not an interview. It's me and you having a conversation about your art, right? Where I get to kind of go through your art each week. I new artists, and I feel like each artist has their own individual story. So, for my most, I guess, generic question of the show right here, why don't you introduce yourself and tell the audience a little bit about yourself? Yeah, and kind of catch them up to date on who you are. And yeah, I'll let you take it from here.
Oh, thank you. So happy to be here. This is my first time using camera in years, if I have to be honest. Hi, I'm Kat, and I am a PhD designer and a digital illustrator. And I am, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, but mostly unfortunately, born on the east side of the globe, primarily East Europe. And I love painting portraits. I love digital portraits. I love digital painting. I love experimenting with AI. That probably might get me in trouble. But I love experimenting with artificial neural networks, machine learning models, and adding my own spin to it. So I can talk a lot about myself, but if you have any more like specific questions, this is mostly for me. PhD in design. Unfortunately, it's in design, so I kind of combine design with art and try to like merge research field with the art field, and it's pretty amazing. I enjoy it. So far, I enjoy it a lot.
Question. So, Kat, let me right.
Hmm.
How did you get? Because there's a lot to you. I mean, there's always a lot to every artist, but you have. There's a lot of interviews. There's a lot of information. Usually, I have a tough time going through someone's information. I'm trying to piece together their background and get a good idea of who they are. But you have a lot of different interviews out there. There's a lot of different things that you could read up on about your art career and your journey of art. How did art like how did it all get started for you? Because it seems like you're not, I mean your school. Not there's very few times on the show. I mean, it's a handful of times I've a lot of times artists are off in a different world and then they become artists through a journey, right? We have a lot of engineers, programmers, just all sorts of different things. And then there are people who, have started out as artists and never and you have schooling in art as well. So I'm just kind of curious, how did the whole art thing where did it start for you? At what age, and how did you know you wanted to focus your schooling in art? Like, how did that all happen?
Probably everything, no matter what I do in my life, everything comes back to art. Because I grew up in a family of teachers. My grandfather was a teacher. My mom loved teaching. My grandfather did not allow her to become a teacher, but she was teaching me and my brother. And I think the biggest influence was from my brother, who's way older than me. I'm talking about 9 years older. So when I was growing up, he was already a teenager, and I was getting a glimpse of what his view of the world and how he wanted to visualize his inner world as well, not just the environment. Because for someone who grew up in like former USSR, like Soviet Union country, it was very, very brutalistic, very grayish. So while we were growing up, we really wanted to color, like add color to all of that environment. So we were envisioning these beautiful fantasy worlds, and he was very inspired by the retro futurism at the time, which was barely going through the iron wall, using these. What are those? The old magazines and the old comics, and that was the reason how I was introduced to that through my brother. And later, I started working, not working, but I graduated fashion design in high school, and then I moved to industrial design because that was the only option for my city at the time at the university. But later, I extended my education with more research based and more focused, which is really interesting, focused on more human creativity, how to be creative and innovative, more specifically semantic information, presentations, interaction, the psychology behind that, and how to teach students to actually find their creative spark regardless of the environment that they're in. So, me and my professor, my supervisor, were basically building a university for a one man, for one person, which was really, really interesting. And now I just use all that knowledge to implement in my own art because I'm blessed with the freedom to create what is true to me. So that's it's pretty interesting how I combine all of these different but not so different parts of the human life, and then into and like merge it into my process.
So quick question, right? What a few questions.
A few questions. It's
Okay,
okay.
so you mentioned that it's interesting because my parents are both teachers as well. However, one teaches one teached business management. My father has a PhD in business management, and so he analyzes businesses and success of businesses, the footprints that they take and how they set up. And so he ended up teaching business management. And then my mother was in accounting, so numbers. And so she taught accounting. She's a CPA. So like, but then she decided, and they both decided they felt like the teaching life was the best life. They had summers off, lots of vacations, constant pay throughout. Even when you're off. So they loved the teaching life, but nothing about art. Now I'm curious. You mentioned that everybody in your family was teachers. What did everybody teach? Was it art, or did they teach different?
They were actually teaching different stuff. My grandfather was elementary school teacher. My cousin currently is also elementary school teacher, and my brother, he used to teach design. He graduated the same university as me because I actually followed his footsteps. And after he graduated, he got an offer to start a whole design program in like a local school, high school. I think we might have a different um, educational system here from there. For example, we have these. We don't graduate at the age of 16. Like we graduate at the age of 18/19. So our high school is basically from 8th to 12th grade. And his program was, he literally founded that design program in one of the local schools from like the 8th to the 12th grade. And he was adjusting all of the subjects that we were taught at the university, but he made it so that it's a level for like a more comfortable, I guess, accessible level for students. And he was teaching for probably 7 8 years, and it was amazing. That's how I was introduced to actual teaching in design, because all of the others are more like broader type of subjects, not art specifically. So that was fun.
Okay. Interesting that they. I maybe I thought that they taught art, but interesting that they taught. What's this?
they were not, yeah, that's funny because they were not artistic people, but they knew how to interact with students. They knew how to present information so that it's more accessible and understandable. And those are methods that I'm using even today, because I realize that's another thing you probably could have asked me that, but I'm going to tell you before even you ask me. They offered me a job. So they offered me a job as a lecturer at the university where I graduated, and I declined. I rejected it, and for the simple reason, because I was not a fan of the educational system in general, and so I actually started collaborating with a startup company here locally, where I teach, but I choose what to teach. I choose the subjects, I teach the methods, I prepare all of the materials, and we have basically a system where anyone can join. It doesn't matter of age. It doesn't have age restrictions. And it was really interesting because I can teach both art, I can teach design, I can teach digital painting, I can teach NFTs and AI, which I did recently. So that's pretty exciting. And we only have people who are really interested in that and who are signing up for this, and they know what they're getting.
So, you mentioned high school for fashion, but then you,
Yes,
right?
apparel. Yeah.
And then you also mentioned after that industrial design. Now, I'm not familiar with industrial design, so you're going to have to define what that is for me. But maybe speak a little bit about the fashion design and then the industrial design. I want to really have a conversation about schooling, um,
Hmm.
because I don't believe that the school system is set up correctly at all. Especially for a young person, I think there's so many better ways to program a brain. But we will spend 2 hours of the show on that alone, and that's a conversation for another day. But yeah, very interesting touching on that point, because I'm not. I think that the school. I'm gonna just bring up YouTube University, right? And I think YouTube now is the future of learning. You learn anything, but let's not get. I don't want to get too off point. Let's focus in on the fashion, and then let's go from the fashion and just explain a little bit what industrial design is, so I understand that better.
Absolutely. So back in high school, we had this. Uh, I think there were different types of grades, classes. You can say, and I was applying for a specific class that had the whole process from the concept of the fashion design or any type of apparel, and then making the cuts, like making the sketch, making the cuts, and actually sewing until the very final stage, which is sewing and fitting the dress or the any type of outfit to a model. In this case, we didn't have many models like physical other ladies that we can fit it, but we did have fashion shows within that high school, and that was a really challenging but also exciting option where you can pretty much concept your own art, your fashion design project, and you can basically execute it from concept to the final product, fit or find a model, like find one of your schoolmates and fit the dress to their body types, and then put them on the runway. And that was really, really nice. We had this really big, like a hall in the city center where they were exclusively giving us for these type of events so we can showcase our fashion. It was pretty nice. Um, the only downside was that we were very many women, many ladies, which that can be really challenging sometimes, and very few boys. So, and yeah, that was really fun. It's a great experience because it taught me how to really think not from the concept side, but also think from the construction part, and how I can fit my idea, my visual idea or my mindset into the final form, which is the final dress or the final outfit. And that was something I would never forget. That actually inspired me to work in companies, like fashion companies. I don't know how they're called in English. Forgive me. Sometimes
No,
I
you're
might
good.
just look for the yeah, for a similar word, but I might not get the actual sentences. We did have a lot of companies, a lot of factories here until 2008. There were probably more than 400 factories around my city before, like until 2008, where the bubble just burst and there was this global economy crash. You probably remember that time. Um, but until then, I was working for some of those companies. I was taking commissions because I have sewing machines at home, so I can literally construct my own outfit if something doesn't fit me because, yeah, my squishy face. Uh, but I think it's amazing. Experience because it not only teaches you how to set up your mindset from start to finish and actually finish a product, but also have this sense of aesthetic, follow the trends. I was a really chubby and very close-minded kid, so that really opened my mind up. I wasn't really into trends, but I learned how to create this fashion aesthetic, sense of aesthetic, that no matter the trends that we have here, they're always an elegant like way of outfit or way of dressing that it's timeless. So that's for the fashion design, the fashion part. For the
But
industrial design, yeah,
hang on, Kat. Quick question.
yes.
You didn't. I should let you finish. Go ahead, finish. Go,
No,
go.
no, no. I'm going to change the topic back to the university. So that's why if you have any question for the fashion
Yeah,
side.
yeah. It seemed like you got a lot of passion. I mean, to bring something, to bring a product from design to finish, and to learn how to create and sew and piece the outfit together. Which I mean, which blows my mind because you probably have. I mean, I'm sure you're well aware of all of the all of the cosplay. If you watch cosplay,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I love
The
them.
okay, you're right. I can't. They have cosplay people the way they put together their outfits, the way they put right. There's just so much that goes into, and now with the internet, like the way fashion has expanded. I was just curious. You didn't carry the fashion on with you, and that's surprising because you had a lot of experience in fashion. Is there any reason why you didn't carry on with fashion? And was it? Did you feel like it was not your thing? Well, what happened there?
I think it was because I didn't have enough area to move on and express myself here. I had to leave the country because here we don't really have, after high school, I think there there's only one university that's in the capital. And aside from that, you just have to move away. There are not many opportunities to actually um, try and grow from there. It gave me the basics, which is really nice. It created my also art style, which even up to this day, if you check, most of my portraits are basically female portraits with a lot of like fashion design for them. So it's very aesthetically pleasing, very nice, very polished sketches. But later I realized that they're way too polished and to a point of they're becoming emotionless. Like I didn't even want to show facial expressions because I wanted to keep the perfection of the female face. But when it comes to me trying to move on from the graduating and continuing this journey, I had to leave the country and I didn't have the chance to. So it was not only because of lack of opportunities here, but it was also lack of the financial part, which prevented me from like keep on experimenting with that.
Okay, so it sounds like saturation or very limited market, and then very competitive, not that many opportunities. And then if you wanted expansion and growth, you would have had to leave. So it sounds like you might have switched. Go ahead. Now I'm imagining that at this point you made a decision to switch to industrial, correct?
Yeah, yeah. From that point, the only type of design that we had in my city was the Department of Industrial Design. And from constructing clothes, I moved on to constructing industrial products. Uh, but here is the funny part. I graduated bachelor degree as engineer in design,
Huh.
but I didn't have enough what is it called? I didn't have enough knowledge to practice actual construction. So we were only learning about the basics of industrial design, and we were covering many different types of design. And this is really funny because one of my lecturers had this saying: when you start um, for industrial design at that department, you basically know nothing about everything. So, because there's so many types of design, when we were introduced to design at that bachelor degree, they gave us the meaning behind design. It has 50 different types of meaning, just the word design in my language. And there's so many different areas that design has spread out, that we had to just cover a little bits, like bits and pieces for each area. I'm talking about graphic design, interior design, product design, web design, UI design, UX. There's so many different like types of design, and we had to cover like little bits and pieces. By the end of the bachelor degree, we had to focus on whichever area that we were interested the most. And I literally was interested in graphic design because I wanted to use the concept art from the fashion design and combine it with now the new language that I gained about what is design, um, what are the principles of design, how can I utilize my former knowledge and merge it with this current one and implement my sense of aesthetic, my graphic skills, my digital skills, and actually work in graphic design, primarily advertising materials. So that was the thing that I. And the funny part, I graduated with book design because me and my a colleague of mine decided to write a book. That's how we graduated, and they hated us. They hated us for that because it was industrial design. They wanted us to make a product design, industrial product. So that was really fun. That was another story that's probably it's going to take another hour. So it's crazy. My life has been crazy, even though it's been boring, but it had crazy episodes.
Industrial design now. What exactly is industrial product design? What does that mean?
Any type of product, any type of product that we're using at the moment. Um, any type when, for example, um, a laundry machine, um, mouse. That's a product design. That's a product, and to make up a design for that product, you have to go through specific steps, and that's what we learn from the concept art, doing the research on the market, doing our prototype, having a basic idea what the design is going to be inspired by, and then what are the problems that our new design will solve as opposed to previous designs that we did our research um, on the market. How do we promote that product? How can we make a 3D model of that? And we even did physical models using foam. That was another thing. So we learned how to actually make promotional models that can be showcased during events. Um, I was modeling cars. I was modeling trams. We had that another project like that. I was modeling iron machine. that was
Yeah, I
pretty
was I
cool.
was gonna ask you if you had. So what I was gonna say is, let's a car company comes to you and their cars aren't selling no more because maybe it's an old design, and then they ask you to revamp their look, and now how much of that industrial does now I'm imagining that well, whatever product they bring to you, right? Whether it's who knows, a camera or a light kit or a computer part or um, a car, anything, right? So like now, how much of that design is, because I would imagine that a lot of research goes into these designs, right? You're probably going to want to see what the best selling, right? So how much of the design is research and development, and how much of it, and like, are you involved in that, or do you just strictly handle the design part? Like, what's involved in that?
Depending on the factory, it's all very dependable on the company itself. Back in the university, they were teaching us to do everything. Like they were teaching us from starting with research of the market, like what is already there, what's been done, what problems are those existing products on the market, what is their design, can it be improved, what's their marketing strategy, like all of this research, it is part of our design, but it's because they wanted to teach us the whole process. And then you start making concept art based on your research. We were doing these spreadsheets about like similar products or similar brands of the same product that we were doing at the design. What are the like positive, negative sides? What can be improved? Anything that we can use in our concept art later on. And when you do the concept art, there's also different styles of that concept. The first drafts are usually very freehand, very brainstorming ideas. And the next stages of that concept art is getting more and more polished, because you have to take into account all of the parts that are inside. So we had this two different approaches when we do a design with concept art for a specific product. For example, if you take a camera, the first approach is from the overall shape to the inside parts. The other one is from inside parts to the overall shape. What that means is, in the first approach, you do an overall shape of the design without thinking what's going to be inside. You just want to have a very pleasing shape, aesthetically pleasing, something that will provoke probably more interest in your customers. After you analyze your customers, that's another thing that we had to learn, analyzing your customers and making a profile of a customer, what someone would like depending on their characteristics, and make a product that will fit someone's profile. And when you do this first approach, you do a very nice, pleasing overall shape, but you don't focus about the parts that are inside. The second approach is first analyze what are the main parts or components of a camera, fit them together, and then make this overall like shell that's going to cover them, or maybe move around some parts in order to fit the shape and fit the shape to the components. The same principle is applied to cars as well. When you see concept art for cars, they can be extremely futuristic, but when you start actually
Right.
well, the what
Start
is it
putting the
called?
parts in.
Exactly. When you start going to the technical sketches
Right.
and see, well, we have these, we call them explosive schemes. I don't know how they're called in English, but it's basically you have a technical sketch which is in a certain dimension, like a certain view, and you have all of the components just exploded, like they're spreading around, and you can see which are the components that are inside your product. Um, they're spread out on the sheet, and you can see how many of them, how big they are compared to one another, and yeah, you can go really technical when it comes to product design. It's not just concept art. You don't stop in your first idea, like the brainstorming part. You actually go beyond that and you construct the shape so that it fits everything, and it fits the components inside. You make sure it works, and you make sure then it can be produced, because if you're making an entirely new design, you must know what are the factory that's going to produce that shape. Um, what materials are going to be used. You have to construct them. We were using specific type of design software, such as SolidWorks, that can literally show you, depending on the type of material, you have to construct specific areas to be more enhanced, because it might break. You have to analyze which are the areas with more tension, or if you have more pull, depending on that physical. Uh, so many things that
I
you
would
have to take into account. It's crazy. This is
I would imagine sourcing materials plays into that. You got to make sure you have the right material. I would imagine budget plays into that, right? You have to make sure.
absolutely, that's the first thing that you have to discuss before even starting a project like
Right.
that. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
everybody wants to make the best product, but then the price range of the product would probably be, it would skyrocket it out of its competitors. So it sounds like a lot goes into that. I think over here too, manufacturing. We I don't think we might refer to it as industrial design, but I would imagine that manufacturing comes into play as well. Do you have any experience with the manufacturing parts, seeing like working with the actual construction of the pieces, or just the design?
No, no. This is where I had to actually draw the line and move into graphic design, because I didn't have access to factories here that are actually producing manufacturing parts and whole products. We have very, very few factories, and we still have very few factories here. And you're right, there's very little design there. They're actually getting the design, the technical sketches from designers, and they just manufacture the parts. So it when you get to that part, you don't have much freedom. There's a lot of limitations there. They give you the technical sketches, they give you the materials, and you just use the machines to produce the parts. Um,
What did
that,
you what I'm gonna I do you have any experience with AutoCAD? What did you
yeah,
design?
I hated AutoCAD. I hated SolidWorks. So this is the fun part. When my brother was back at the university, when he was doing industrial design, they had to use AutoCAD, and I was still a kid. I was still in my I think it was primary school when he was first introduced to AutoCAD, and I hated it because everything was command based. When I was moving, when my time came to start design at the university, we were already moved to SolidWorks. So at least the command base, the command was not there. But I think they're still using AutoCAD even up to this day, or maybe other types of CAD systems that um, are very essential in manufacturing. We were using SolidWorks because it gives you a more visual representation of your shape, and they can even analyze the points of break, the breaking points of your design, because they're doing simulations of the product once you are done with your design. But it's also very restricting because you have to know how to create the shape and follow specific commands, like follow specific features. If you messed up the features, the final product is going to crash in the end, or the program is just going to give you error every single time you want to press a button. SolidWorks is very, very specific. But yeah, I've used that, which is kind of the lesser option, like the easier option of AutoCAD.
Okay. Interesting. I was a mechanical engineer, and we used AutoCAD a lot to do designs. We would have to put the stresses in and analyze all the points of break. So this is fascinating. I haven't been on AutoCAD in a long time. But interesting how it's coming into play. This week it seems to be like AutoCAD week. The guest on Monday was familiar with design as well. So it's just interesting how engineering art. All right. So what happened to industrial design? What happened after that? Yeah. Take us through that part.
So when I realized that I'm not fit to be industrial, well, product designer or engineer in this case, I thought that it's probably better for me to continue working on what is true to myself, and I guess what I really wanted to do, which is always related to fashion, portraits, designing, and painting. And one of the things that was actually lacking in this, the whole bachelor degree educational system, was that we didn't have anywhere within those subjects about design, we didn't have digital painting. And I had to basically teach myself using all of the um, components of design, like when it comes to color theory, when it comes to composition, when it comes to shapes and how shapes interact with each other. So that technical side, more like not technical, more like the scientific part of design, and then watch YouTube videos and learn how to paint digitally and while using these concepts. It was
YouTube University.
YouTube University, and the fact that I had to learn myself landed me a job right after I graduated my master's degree, which was really crazy because they did not give a f about my engineering experience or knowledge. They wanted me to do digital painting and design for games. So that was another crazy episode of my life. But before that, I wanted to mention something that really affected me even now. It keeps affecting me during the NFT journey. Uh, Me and my colleague, one of my colleagues from the university, decided to start writing. So she comes from a very highly educational family. Like they're very well off, but they're also extremely, how do you call that? Extremely intelligent. And she loves writing down stories. And she started as she saw me when I was sketching something like characters, portraits in between the lessons, um, the different subjects. And she asked me, "Would you like to, I don't know, share some stories with me, or maybe would you like to write down some stories?" So we started doing this pen and paper stuff. It's like role play, but instead of following rules like D&D, you create them. Like she was writing a paragraph, I was writing a paragraph. She was reading mine and answering back, and I was reading hers and answering back. And after a while, we were just discussing the idea first, and then started writing. And kind of the story shows up, like it reveals itself while you're writing, and you don't know what's going to happen because you don't know how she would react. And after a while, you have this like beads, chain of those beads, that it's her writing, mine, hers, right, mine, hers, mine. And at the end of the story, you kind of lose track who wrote what, because we're so in a line with each other, and we're getting so our mindset are becoming aligned, and our ideas becoming, our way of expression becoming really, really merging together. And it was a great experience. So we started writing back in, I think, second year of the bachelor degree, and we continued, and we decided to graduate with the book, which is the whole story about that. Oh, sorry, I have an alarm. And we decided to compose everything into a book form. And because we had to start, what do you call it, this in English, we had to divide our tasks. So we can't just present our idea in front of the judges and say, "Oh, we both work on this," even though we did, but only the text form. They asked us to divide our tasks, to delegate the tasks, and each one will be responsible for either the design of the book, the overall design of the book, and the body, and the, what is it called, the marketing side, the if the book is finished, how are we going to present it and market it, and eventually make profits of from that, and how are we going to share it on everywhere, social media. But we're talking about this is back in 2011, so social media was a little non-existing at the time. It was a very, very early stage. So yeah, that was another thing. So that was
So
fun.
it sounds like your journey, right? It's fashion, industrial design, and now
And
it feels like almost you're picking up all of your skills along the way. Now you're learning all these. You right have a lot of experience with art programs, and now you're picking up along the way as you're creating and designing. You obviously have to tap into all types of art programs, whether it's 3D, whether it's 2D, concept drawing, right? So you're learning along the way with pen and paper, pad and paper, and art is there all along. The book design, and then focusing in on creating the design of the book, then how to market it. How um, how did all of this turn into deciding to go for? Because I don't hear this a lot, right? A
yeah,
PhD in it. Yeah. Why don't you talk about the schooling and the PhD in the specific area that you decided to? Was it the fact that it was just an accumulation of, hey, I know all of this, I know this is the direction I want to go, and so therefore I'm going to put heavy emphasis on, studying and like how did it all come together in the because it seems like you knew you want like you enjoyed painting, and even at the beginning of the show you said you enjoyed digital drawing, and it seems like to me that drawing and sketching has followed you throughout everything you've done. And so at this point in time, you probably had to accumulate a decent amount of knowledge when it comes to all of these programs, a lot of software. It sounds like you probably at that point had some Adobe experience, whether it was Photoshop or Illustrator or After Effects. Um, and then the physical side of it, how did it all translate into, okay, I'm going to go for a degree? um, yeah, why don't you talk about it, because obviously it's you that knows what you did, right? So yeah, I'll let you take it from here.
Actually, at the time, I did not know what to do because even though I graduated, the first blow that we had to face was our bachelor degree graduation. Even though I shared with you this project that we were doing, the book design, me and my colleague, she was a wonderful person and she was so inspired and so um, hardworking and dedicated. We spent basically 3 years preparing for this graduation. And they, what is the word that I want to use, but without getting canceled? They literally shitted on us. They hated the thing that we did. And the reason for that is it wasn't because it was bad. I thought at the time that it was bad, but the reason is because it's not what they expected. Because when we were just discussing that product design, industrial design, they want something engineering. And we ended up with a product design, but not the product design they wanted. And even though it was true to us and we did it the best way we can at the time, still it was not the thing that they expected. And without with, if, instead of saying this, oh, we want something different, they decided to criticize the product that they're not even aware of, that they're not professional in. So they literally criticize something that they're not even knowledgeable about. But despite that, that was a heavy blow on my mental state because I felt that we can go on with this. I wanted to release the book. I wanted to keep on creating because we ended up creating character designs, not just story, but we were complementing this with digital portraits, scenes. That was going to be part of the book. We were visualizing, basically designing, using all that knowledge, designing the world that that book was for. And after that, I kind of got really depressed because I didn't know actually where to go. So I decided to move on to master's degree because in order to have a PhD, you have to go through master's degree and master's degree is usually 1 year only in here in my country. Um, the bachelor degree is 4 years, master's degree is one, and then PhD is another 3 years. But if you're working, you can extend it up to 5. And this is how I did. So I graduated master's degree because I literally did not know what to do. I just wanted a degree because I was thinking that maybe I can just land on a design job somewhere, and I was still recovering from that emotional and psychological blow.
Just to clarify, right? It sounds
Yeah,
like they wanted a product of
they
some
wanted
sort,
they
right?
wanted a tractor. You know, you want to hear the funny story? They wanted a tractor
Uh,
because the Department of Industrial Design was part of the uh, agricultural. What's the higher part of? So you have department, and then you have um, it's a bigger department is part of that, like a
is it
sector.
environmental?
It's like a sector of the university.
Is it
I forgot the name.
is it environmental?
No, it's the word for that sector, the part of the university. I'm gonna use Google. Forgive me. I know this is live, but when it comes to some specific terminology that I, I actually forget that, and I forgot it intentionally. I because I didn't want to mess with that. I didn't want to remember that anymore. Um, so we have a department, which is the smallest entity, the smallest part of that, and then the different departments are forming um, faculty. So the departments are part of a faculty. And when my department was created back in 1985, I think, 1985, it was under the umbrella of the agricultural faculty of this university. So the design was always connected to agricultural products, and tractor is just one of them. So I know this is kind of sound like a joke, but I feel like they expected us to make a tractor design. I don't know. They-
Well, you know,
but
if
they
you
were not, yeah, they were not very happy
to
about the
cat
book
it
design.
no, well, you know what? To be in a lot of schools, you see this in a lot. Okay, so film school, right? A lot
Hmm.
of schools will tap into their student. I mean, that's the student base, right? There's thousands of students. There's a lot of energy that they can tap into. A lot of I was going to say manpower, woman power, right? People power. You have a young group of people with a lot of energy that like to stay up all hours of the night creating and designing. And so this is, they could pick and choose from these designs. And as a school always loves to lay claim to, hey, it's over here, right? Or MIT, a student designed this, or they came up with a formula on how to beat this type of disease, or this was and then the school lays claim to that design and that success, and then that becomes an accredited school because, all the students that design this and they tap in to all of that brain power and the all that work, right? Because you're working
Yeah,
to become successful out of class. And then that becomes part of the school. Like, hey, they designed this tractor that revolutionized the way that we farm, or the way and then they can claim, they can lay claim to that, and then all of the ideas and the creativity. So if it doesn't benefit them, then what is it going to
I
do for them,
guess.
right?
Yeah,
Right.
I guess
So
that would be the case. But the funny thing is that used to be the case. When I was graduating, or during my whole bachelor degree, we didn't have our designs used anywhere. And that really bothered me because I realized that, yes, in the past, other like how do you call this, graduation classes, like groups of students. They had the opportunity to apply for different like open calls like we have here in NFTs, and they can design something that can benefit the faculty and that can benefit the whole university. But when I was having my own bachelor degree, we didn't have that. We were doing amazing designs, and I had colleagues that were actually dabbing into car design, web design, interior design. And later, after they graduated, they actually landed jobs in those respective companies, like respected fields. But during the bachelor degree, no one used our designs, and that really bothered me. So I decided, okay, if no one is using the designs that are actually they're made for um, the faculty and the university, let's just do what fits me the most. But it was, yeah, it didn't work either way. So that was the specific thing that really bothered me at the time. And here's another thing. We suggested that topic months and months and months before the graduation, and we had a supervisor, and they agreed to everything, which was another thing that it really bothered me at the time, because if they didn't like the topic, if they didn't like the design, they could have just said no, just move to something else, choose something that benefits us or fits us, our perspective more. They did not cancel that. They didn't want to change it. They accepted it. They agreed with our terms. And the day of the graduation, they just didn't like it. They were nitpicking stuff that um, they never really saw before. Even though we were having these like dates where we can consult with them, even with some of the judges, like, because those are literally our former lecturers. And it was pretty messed up situation. And I think it was not that bad, but I took it really bad. That was my own issue that now I learn and accept it.
Okay. How did so bring us up to date on so now you're kind of trying to find your way around, and now you decided to maybe gear your schooling more towards what it is that you want to venture in, right? And so
Yeah.
now you made this decision to uh, study and uh, create PhD in if I have this correct, in illustration and design. Is it
It's in design. I added the illustration and graphic part.
okay? Okay.
So the fun part about the PhD is that I was actually thinking of just continuing after graduating master's degree. I was already having an office job. I was working for a company and we were making games, and it was pretty impressive for me. It was the first time, that was my first job, and it was in design and digital illustration, and I really loved it. Um, but the one thing that bothered me back then, it was that the more I was working on the paycheck, the more I was working on, the more my boss was able to afford stuff, not me. And that was in the back of my mind. Like, but that's another story. I was going to continue working, but one of my lecturers from the university, and he is actually the founder of the industrial design department. He then retired, and it was like a guest lecturer, but he was an impressive mind. He was an amazing, and he was the one who kind of saw me among the crowd of the other colleagues and said, "Would you like to continue working with me and do a PhD? Here is my plan. Like, this is my lifelong project. That was university for a man, for just one person. And I'm dabbing into not just design, but design thinking, the creative part, the mindset, the psychological part, the emotional part, the different types. Here's another thing, the different types of intelligence. Like, he was the one who introduced me that there's so many other elements that we can use in order to teach people, to teach students, and to present um, our information, our knowledge in a better way. So he was more of a, he founded the design, the industrial part of design, but then he kind of switched to a more psychological, more mindset, and he was researching about the human mind in general. And in my PhD, I was focusing exactly on the human mind, the human creativeness, the semantic information, which is the meaning behind everything, that the information that we present, how to present our information, how to communicate, even, and make it an art form, a design form, and how to teach others to find their passion, which is
It,
really really different from industrial design. But he knew that I just didn't want to do engineering.
it sounds like to me that well, I mean, this is so this is such a interesting conversation, because it sounds like to me that you've started venturing into the psychology and of an artist. Why people create, what inspires them to create, what drives them to become an artist, what's that, and you even said it earlier in this conversation, what's that spark? What is it that makes somebody wake up and say, like, I'm an artist, and this is what I want to do, and this is what I want to create, and this is the way I want to go, and I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what it kind of sounds like. It's a very interesting little area to study. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
It's a very specific area. This is not the regular design that we learned at during our bachelor and master's degree. It was a very, I guess it was a very specific type of topic and a field that only the people who continue their research in PhD were able to access. Even though he was giving us bits and pieces, but most of my colleagues, they were not even interested because it was not strictly design related. So because we're, as you said, dabbing into the psychology, into the mind of a creator, the mind of an artist, designer, even though even up to this day I do not consider myself an artist. I am a creator, I'm a designer because that's the background that I am in. But it has a lot of art elements. And it's amazing the blend between art and design is in the things that I'm working on.
So, Kat, the question: when you meet another artist, or you meet another designer, another creator, can you look at, before you even meet them, right? As you introduce yourself to maybe their portfolio, or you go through their work, do you do you have the ability to understand their personality before you even get a chance to speak to them? Do you see the psychology behind their art, or their work, or their design?
I'm trying to. I'm trying to because the more I understand them, the more I get to know them, the more I understand why they're creating the way they're creating. And this is one of the elements that I use when I am working with clients as well. Because after graduating PhD, I decided to not go back to my office job. I left my office job and I decided to pursue freelance. And then one of my colleagues during PhD introduced me to crypto and NFTs in streaming as well. And this is one of the things I love the most from my PhD studies, that it really gives you a broader version, like vision of the world, that it helps you understand and analyze. I know it sounds a little emotionless, but it helps you analyze someone to why are they doing what they're doing, why are they thinking. First of all, why are they thinking the way they think? What is their perception? How is that perception built? Because we live in a different parts of the world. We were educated in a different way. We have these what we called thesaurus, or a library of visual images and symbols in our mind. And for me, one symbol might have one meaning. For you, might have entirely different. And to get to know you first is a crucial for me, so I can express myself so that you can understand me and you can understand my perception.
Is it easier to get to know the artist first, or is it easier to look at their art like a blank canvas and then kind of determine what the artist is thinking from their art, or does it help you to know the artist before? I almost feel like you're an artist therapist, to be honest. I feel like you could go into the why. So an artist's mind is one of the most complicated minds, because I think when you are very organized. You're an organized person, right? As I go through your link tree and I look at all the links, and I feel like we're gonna need another 3 hours to finish this shit. So I mean, we're already an hour in, and it's flying.
Yeah.
Just your
Yeah.
background is so interesting, right? I almost feel like so an artist's mind is one of the most. I feel like if you drop a firework or a stick of dynamite into an artist's mind and you blow it up, like, or you blow up a room, and then there's just shit everywhere, right? And I feel like that's walking into an artist's mind. It's very rare you walk into an artist and an artist is very organized. They know what they want. They know what they're creating. Because artists always, I got this project. I got that project. Oh, I got this idea. Oh, it's and then artists like to jump around. Sometimes they don't finish things. So I almost feel like you're like an artist psychologist where you can go in and you know to figure out the wiring behind why an artist created what they created and what
Kind
inspired
of
them to. Go ahead.
it
Go
kind
ahead.
of it kind of rewiring everything. It's like,
Right. Right.
no,
Right.
I think it's because of my own issue. Because I grew up as an artist, then I had to mold myself into the design role. And then now I have to like dust it off and try to be an
Go
artist again.
back to an artist. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like I have two sides of myself, the researcher and the artist. And those are just battling each other constantly. And I'm trying, and I'm in the middle and trying to understand why, what's the logic behind each of them. And can I actually use both of them, like the best of both worlds? And I realized that I can. So, an artist, especially in NFTs, you have to have a brand, you have to have a strategy, you have to think of it as a business. And I know this from my freelance experience because if you're not at least a little bit of what is it called, organized, like you said, I can't even finish a commission. And if I don't finish a commission, I'm not getting paid. If I don't get paid, and I can't pay bills, I can't support myself or my family, and everything goes to shit. So you have to have this a little bit of design, more straightforward, logical. Construction of your thoughts, but then you can also give yourself the freedom. So now I'm learning how to combine both. And I think the reason why I feel more of a psychologist for art is because I'm trying to understand myself, and learning about others is helping me understand myself as well.
A lot of times too with artists. Artists will do things to self sabotage their success. And a lot of times I'll say that it's the fear of success. I think every artist can reach the mountaintop. I think everyone out there can. But a lot of times the mountaintop of success, which is the creme de la creme, or the cream always rises to the top, there's a lot of stress that comes with the top as well. And so a lot of change. The human nature doesn't like change. Human nature likes to be they're very happy, content. But as you grow and build, and a lot of time you have to push yourself for that. And you get to the point where you see that success start to happen, and then they'll sabotage it because they're not used that that success will create an entirely new life, right? Something that there's a lot of changes, a lot of new people will enter their lives. Maybe they're very content with their life the way it is now. A lot of times, artists will get to that upper echelon, and they'll get scared, and then you start to see themselves. So, oh, well, you know what? I decided I'm going to focus over here, or maybe I might do some of this, or I might do something over here. And all of a sudden, it's like, well, wait, well, why are you changing? You're becoming successful in this sector. And I think success scares a lot of people, especially that big success. especially artists. I think artists just like to create, and then in comes the responsibility of that success, and then that's when artists really start to feel the pressure, because it's like, wow, everything's changing, and I'm not really doing anything that makes me happy, or now the responsibility. You see it all the time, right? People take an art, and they're very successful with the art, and then somebody comes to them and somebody's like, oh, hey, can I commission you, or can I pay you to do something for me? And now you end up doing something for someone else, and it comes out great. And now the artist is like, hey, no, maybe I could survive like this, or maybe I could make a business out of this, or maybe I could make a living out of this. So you know what? Let me focus on this a little bit more, because this is something that I love to do. And now I'm getting paid from it. And now once you get paid from it, you're including different people, customers, right? People who are hiring you. And people could be difficult to work with, especially if sometimes it might take an artist a little longer to create something. It says, and so on the customer end, is it done yet? Is it finished yet? What happened with that? How much longer is it going to be? We're trying to use this for a cover. Do you think you're going to have it finished by the end of the week? Can you give me a date? Do I don't write? And now all this stress gets them, and now you're trying to make a paycheck. And now you see, so a lot of people translate their art to a business, and now they realize once it becomes that business, it has to, put food on the table. It has to pay the bills. You have to become successful as an artist. And then that's when the more people come in. With the help of the internet, it's kind of eased off. I feel like people have taken their foot off the pedal of the gas, because it's like, you know what? I don't necessarily have to take commissions, or I don't have to work with it. I can create, and now I can put these pieces of art or this artwork up, and then I can say, hey, you know what? I can sell an NFT. I can sell a print. I can open up a store. I can offer my art. Maybe somebody might like what I've already created, and they will purchase it. Maybe they'll, I can open up a, what is the name of that site? Where they can contribute. The name's not coming to me. Patreon. I could have a Patreon page, right? And people I could stream. I could stream me creating art, and maybe people will watch these streams, and then I will start to develop a revenue from this stream. People might tip, right? The internet has offered artists so many different ways to get paid without even having to commission now. So I feel like it's and now, especially with NFTs, you don't have to worry about getting your prints made. You don't have to worry about, you want to do a gallery show. The gallery has, digital screens. Now it's just, hey, can we get that file? And so now it doesn't become anymore, well, we need you to, as an artist, if you're just starting off, well, we need you to print your stuff on canvas so we can hang it. We need you to print your stuff, period. Can you frame it? Now shipping's involved. Can you send it to, and now if you're dealing with galleries and if you're not an experienced artist, or you don't have a budget or funding, it gets expensive, because now you're the one dealing with the shipping. You're the one, if the gallery doesn't believe it. If you're an established artist and you're selling, then sure, the gallery will work out a deal. All right, it's 50-50. We'll pay for the shipping. We'll pay for the creations, because they know they're going to be able to sell it. But with an artist that they don't have any experience selling with, there's a lot of funding that comes with being that artist, getting your prints, the physical world, right? Whereas now NFTs, everything's turning digital. People are getting their stuff in Times Square on digital screens everywhere. In some of the biggest squares of Japan, China, all around the world. Like you said before, we have submissions, the hug. And you never know where your art is going to show up now, but not that much expense when it comes to displaying your art. So as technology and as social media has become, explosive, so has the art world, in terms of being able to, you never know what opportunity is going to come, and not that much of an expense for an artist, where in the physical world, so much is changing. I forgot where I was going with this, but shit.
I'm glad you mentioned all
Go
that
ahead, go ahead.
because I can take from here. That's how my journey followed up the same chain of events from freelancing, streaming, crypto, NFTs, and now I have all these opportunities that
Right, right,
I did not know they existed 10 years ago because they didn't.
right,
And
right.
I never imagined that when I was sitting in front of that office PC and I was looking through the window, our office was on the 13th floor, so I could greet both the sunrise and the sunset. And I was thinking to myself, am I going to be stuck here for 45 years just like my parents did? And doing the same thing over and over again and not even live my life because I could see how many opportunities there are, or maybe I could feel it, or maybe I was just a rebel at the time. I don't know. But we didn't have that many options that time. So when I agreed to work to do my research and PhD, that actually opened my mind that there are many other options about research and design and art. And which changed my mindset. And once my mindset was reprogrammed, once I graduated, the opportunities just came to me. So I was able to attract them. And that's how I was able to try streaming. That's the reason why I was able to do freelance. And then I started dabbing into NFTs and crypto. And I think in 4 days from now, it's going to be my 6th anniversary since I joined crypto and I joined NFTs, specifically NFTs.
So you
So
were in NFTs 6 years ago?
since October 2018, yes.
No way. You're a super OG
I was
right now,
super
huh?
fart. I was super fart as what I because the capital A of the fart. No, just kidding. But yeah, it's a really interesting experience, and I've been through several market cycles, which probably we can dab into that as well. But what I wanted to point out when you mentioned about the opportunities that most artists have now, and they don't even need to get out of the comfort of their own home.
Right.
This is my like best opportunity because I I wasn't able to travel. Like, not that I hate it. No, I love it, but I wasn't able to. I was restricted when it comes to traveling and meeting with other people, learning about other cultures, or maybe even learning about other fields and professions because I had to move entirely. And even that was very difficult when I was growing up. And now I don't even need to do that. I can travel because I have expenses I have income from selling my art. So that's amazing. That's my biggest wish at the moment, to be able
That's
to
every
still
artist's
that's
wish,
every
Kat,
hour.
right?
Yeah,
Every
yeah,
artist.
exactly. To be able to travel and meet other fellow artists and visiting those galleries where your art is, visiting the conferences. While I was in PhD, I was able to travel to Spain for several research, like international conferences, but that was for research. It didn't have crypto, but still, it was amazing for me because it was my first experience outside my country and dabbing into research and meeting like fellow mindsets and fellow researchers, and it was amazing. But one thing I was always stopped by, and you mentioned it at the very beginning of your speech, this paragraph, this section, it was my fear of success. We're conditioned in a specific society to fit the specific society's requirements. I was taught how to create art. I was not taught how to sell it. I was not taught how to have better financial education or financial knowledge. I wasn't even taught that there are multiple types of intelligences. That when I was doing my PhD research, when I was dabbing into different types of intelligence, there's emotional intelligence. There's more than 25 different types of intelligence. But what society teaches you, IQ test. That's it. If you have a high IQ, you're the goat. No, that's just one tiny little part of how impressive a human mind can be. And the problem, and I'm still actually experiencing this, and I'm trying to grow from that, getting out of that conditioning and reprogramming my mind that having success is not bad, having money is not bad. I grew up with the impression or with the teachings that being rich is a sin. Having more a lot of money is not good because rich people are bad. It's fascinating. Like you can be a bad person with or without money.
Yeah.
Like money can uh what's the word? They can I forgot the word in English right now. They can change you into someone bad because you don't have the mindset how to deal with money, how you can embrace the concept of money because you don't have a financial education. And I've been learning this for the past 10 years, and I now see how many of these old mental patterns that we had since childhood I need to get rid of so that I can be embraced for and embrace more in new opportunities because I'm afraid to even apply for some of the open calls or some of the contests or some of the interviews because I don't know how others will perceive me. I don't really have that much background, or I don't even have that much experience, even though I have the knowledge. But I haven't worked for big companies. I haven't worked for big brands. I'm just me who's trying to um, have meets ends or whatever that sentence is called. Is trying to survive and share my
Make ends meet,
yeah, make
right?
ends meet and trying to survive and share. And despite that, I'm still trying to express my own inner world and visualize it in order for people to see. And here's the funny part. This is the first interview that we're having here that I'm actually dabbing into my background so much. I didn't even know how to explain that in a tweet because writings and stuff like that. But this is the first type of interview that's really deep dive about me and my background and what makes me me and what made me get this far and to have this perception of the world. But it's crazy. And the most this is the thing I want to try and teach people now, and I'm working on a new collection that's trying to teach people with that. The biggest advice that I want to give someone is that it doesn't matter if you fail or not. It doesn't matter if you make mistakes. Everything is a learning curve, and it's better for you to try and say, well, maybe there was a reason for that didn't happen. Maybe there was a reason why I did not win that contest, or I was not chosen for that showcase or that gallery. Maybe I'm not ready. Maybe I need to work more on this or that. There's always a reason why things are happening in our lives, and we don't need to hold grudges in pain and suffering I've had this. I'm still trying to get rid of that because in order for something good to happen, you have to prepare your mind for that. You have to have the eyes to see it. Otherwise, it's going to slap you in the face because move on to the next one. And yeah, people are afraid. I'm still afraid myself, and I'm trying to get rid of those nasty mental patterns that are still preventing me from reaching the height or maybe the success that I'm only dreamed of very late at night when when no one can hear me or no one can see me. It's crazy.
My so my background, right? So it's a bachelor's in mechanical engineering, but I was one class away. I think I was 3 credits away from minoring in psychology. I said if I never made it as an engineer, I would move into psychology because the human mind fascinates me. Now, quick question. Because I mean, we're burning time fast. We're already an hour and 20 minutes into the show, and we didn't even get to your art yet. And I do want to do a brief run through. You're gonna come back on the show, right, Kat?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
there's so much here, right? And I know we're not gonna get to it all. And I don't want to rush the show because the conversation is just fascinating right now. But through getting to know artists, right? And we come from a period where my parents, you're not going to survive as an artist. It's too competitive. It's one out of a million. You got to get something that you can fall back on. It's engineering's a good thing to fall back on. Maybe a veterinarian, you're good with animals. So you got to find something that you're really going to fall back and right. And at that time period, it was difficult as an artist. I don't think it was that difficult, but to get up and go knock on doors, bang on doors, hit galleries. We didn't have access to the internet. There was no social media. You couldn't find somebody on the other side of the world and say, hey, you couldn't reach out to galleries. And then social media started developing as you get older and older and older. I remember when MySpace first dropped, and there was all of these community sites, and it was like, hey, post your photographs here, and it's like, it's like maybe I'll see where I stand, and you're on, next thing you know, one model place, and you're on all these sites, and then MySpace comes out of nowhere, and it's like, MySpace was like, to me, kind of like the beginning of social media. There was this site called Model Mayhem, where you can interact, but it was nothing what it was. And then all of a sudden, now today, the TikToks, the short form videos, the YouTubes, the streams, there's so many different opportunities and ways for an artist to put their art out there that never existed maybe 10, 15 years ago. So the technology, that's what I'm going to say. Technology has changed the mindset and the successfulness of an artist, where it's opened, where maybe you really would have to put in a lot of work to open one door. Never mind now, you just get down in front of your computer the minute you wake up, you start pumping out art, and now you can connect and open up so many different doors. And most people, I'm going to sit and create this piece. Wait a second, I'm going to sit and create this piece on live. Right? Like now you're just opening up a window. You never know who's going to drop in, never know who's going to see, who's going to share. So so many opportunities have opened up for artists because of the technology. And I only see it getting bigger and better. And now, maybe back in the day, it was unfathomable for you to reach out and get in touch with your greatest artists. Now it just takes a tweet. Maybe to get their attention. Now it just takes a post, or maybe reaching out, sending somebody an email. It just drops down. Hey, I'd love to chat it up with you and talk about. And now you could reach out to your biggest inspirations, and you never know what comes out of these inspirations. It's just so much easier to communicate for artists, and so much easier to reach all these different opportunities. And the way that we're headed with digital screens, Times Square, right? And it's just not Times Square, but everywhere else. Look at Dubai. Look at, look at where we're headed. Everybody has a phone in their hand. Everybody has wallpapers. Computers have exploded, right? So there's so many more opportunities for art to be displayed. Screens, canvases. Just look at how the technology has now created that canvas-looking screen where it just doesn't reflect any light. So you look at it and it looks like an actual canvas or a piece of work of art. Now galleries have realized, oh my God, we could rotate artists every week. We just have to get their digital files. That was a lot in one sentence. So the opportunities have become so big for artists, and only bigger now, right? And just think about the when you were an artist, you wanted to draw. You had to buy a pencil set. You had to get different paper. You had to get. Now you get an iPad, and people are sketching on their. I have a Samsung. I forget what they call it. Note, right? And the pen comes right out from the bottom of the phone, and people can sketch on their phone. So, for artists and for people who have art embedded in them, the times have changed. We are living through this change. It's not just the change, it's the mindset that's changing as well. Where people say, oh, 1 in a million shot, not so much anymore. You never know who's going to see your art. You never know, and now it kind of feels like you got to just be in it to win it now. You just have to be part of the tech technological boom or culture, and just now people are drawing in 3D, Oculus. Look at all of the 3D, like, and I forgot you're part of all of this, right? Look at everything that's Sketch and Paladin and all of these 3D galleries, right? Now you have a dream for a gallery. It used to take $1 million or a couple $100,000 from an investor to create your gallery. You would have to go out, find that money, make that sale. You would have to hope that an investor didn't have any effect on the way you design your gallery. Or, hey, my friend's an artist, I want to get him in. Maybe his friend's not that good as an artist. But now you can create a whole world in 3D and pitch it and say, hey, this is what I want to do. Look for the right investor. There's the way art and technology has changed. It's also the mindset is changing. It's not anymore a 1 in a million. Go get yourself something. And now applying crypto to sales. I feel like art sales have given crypto the first solid foundation of use, right? And now look at all the transfers that are happening and the changes and exchanges. And yeah, you don't have to ship me nothing. I have your digital piece. I can print it over here. I got a digital screen over here. There's so many more opportunities coming and stemming from the technology that it's changing the mindset to what it used to be, which was 1 in a million, which is no. Now you just get on the hug, apply, send your art out. And so we're coming out of that, right? We're coming out of this old mindset, changing into a new mindset, trying to keep up with the technology. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to get that
That was
out.
amazing. Yeah, that was amazing. And I want only to add that the younger generation is so much more easier for them to
Sure. They're born with a phone in their
they're
hand now,
they're
right?
born with our technology. Exactly. But for someone like us, for older generation that had to go through these transitional stages of the mindset, it really can be a challenge. And I can tell you from experience, one of my art teachers at the university, he hated digital art. Like when I introduced him back in the days that I want to learn to paint digitally, he's a very famous traditional painter in my city, and he never wanted to even dab into or acknowledge that digital art is an art form. And now he can't even embrace the fact or fathom the idea that there is crypto, there is digital art, there is digital galleries,
Right.
there's 3D art,
There's
there's 3D
hey,
animation, there's VFX, there's so much. And
right.
especially the technology that we have now to display digital art in any type of format, it's mind blowing. He can't even fathom that because his mindset doesn't want to change. And
Right.
the crazy part, nature is not like that. This is not normal. This is not natural for a human body. Nature is ever changing. We need to be like that. We need to be like the water. We just always flowing, adjusting. Why are you stopping your own success and your own creativity and your own progress because of those old mindset and conditioning that you had before? It's crazy. I feel bad for him, but I cannot change him because he's already old enough and he doesn't want to change.
Well,
So
Kat,
it's crazy.
to be truthful, there's a lot of older, right, that are adapting and evolving and becoming part of the space, and then there's people who just don't want to touch it, right? And that's so earlier,
Yeah.
right? That's the part where people are kind of content. They're, I'm not, I don't touch that garbage. It's not pure, right?
Yeah.
But that's like an excuse to like not have to. It's to learn, just to learn this, right? So I mean, I came in right around 2020, and then it was the whole Beeple sale that really caught my attention, and it was like, what's NFTs and who's
That
so,
people call everyone's attention, if I
yeah,
have to be
yeah,
honest.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Can I stop you for a second?
yeah.
Your camera is black.
Oh shit!
I can't
Thank
see
you.
you. You're welcome.
Um,
You're
I'll
welcome.
change that while. Thank you for.
Do you remember, while you're doing that, do you remember the amount of that Beeple sale?
Yeah, 69 million.
69.3 million.
Yeah, I remember it clearly. I remember me hearing about it and seeing about it, and I'm like, the first thing I said to myself is, somebody sold a piece of art, a digital piece of art, for 69 million. How did that happen? And who is this people? And what's going? Like, what did I miss? What's going on? This seems like there was this like whole entire world, or this whole entire NFT, and now you're saying you were in it from 2018. So like
Yeah.
you were aware of everything that was evolving as much as he was, but I didn't even know anything about the NFT, the crypto world, none of it,
But
right? And
that's
it,
the only difference is that I was at the peripheral of that. Even though I was still part of the community, I did not have those opportunities, but and now I have them. Well,
well, it does.
um,
It takes so. What I think what people don't realize is when. So for me, right, and I'm going to touch on this because man, we got to get to showing a little bit of your art for this show. Usually, is I stick to a time schedule, but the conversation has been so great that, especially when it comes to psychology and the psychology of the artist, because this stuff is so important for artists, for older artists especially, to understand that. So I jump in, right, and it was Spaces originally, right, and I'm like, well, what's this X stuff? Like, I came onto Twitter at the time, and like I found that all these NFT artists, it seemed like it originally started with what's that program on Apple? It's like
Clubhouse. Oh,
say yes. Did you say
Club
Clubhouse?
Clubhouse. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's
Before I even Spaces, because I don't think they were available on Twitter. Yeah, they were Clubhouses,
right.
and again, I have Android, so it doesn't.
Yeah, yeah. I was knocked out of Clubhouse too. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
haven't.
wasn't I wasn't even able to join them because I was on Android, and Android at the time did not have Clubhouse. They eventually added that option, but it
Oh,
was after they
it's too
moved on to
late.
something else. It was already too late.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was already too late. And I heard about like all these artists giving interviews in Clubhouse. I'm like, man, I can't get into this Clubhouse app because I got an Android. I was actually thinking about buying an iPhone just so I could get Clubhouse. And there was
Yeah.
that, oh, it's coming to Android, it's coming to, but I mean, it took so long. But then somehow Twitter developed Spaces. And so right around that time when I jumped on Twitter, Spaces started happening, and it was hot. And it was like all the NFT artists are hanging out in these spaces. And so from that point on was when I started learning about NFTs, how it applied to crypto. Everybody had a 10,000 collection. That was right around the time when everybody was pitching that. Well, my 10,000 collection represents this, and I want to do this, and I'm trying to sell these because I think apes and the punks were getting really big
Yeah.
around that time.
CryptoPunks, Pudgy Penguins, CryptoPunks, Pudgy Penguins, Bored Apes, World of Women. That's how I got introduced to my first community. I joined the World of Women community, and it was amazing. What else? I think the first year, because I was actually having a teaching lesson at the end of 2021 here locally, thanks to that startup company. I had to do research for only 2021, like up to the end of 2021. There were more than 400 registered, 10,000 like 10K collections on in the NFT
Yeah,
market.
yeah. Everybody had a 10K
Everybody was making a 10K collection.
utility, right? When I walked into the room, the spaces for the
I
first
was
time,
I was freaking out. That shit freaked me out. Utility. I'm here to sell my art. What kind of utility do you
yeah,
want me to
yeah,
do?
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, when I first got into to spaces, that's all I heard. I ended up, so I've listened to so many different spaces. I saw some photographers selling some stuff, and I was like, okay, well, there's potential here. And then I landed in this Mongoose space with Mongoose, and I spent like a whole 8 months, 9 months, a whole year in his space, just listening to him go over these 10K projects, and I'm trying to figure out. And then I think that was the birth. I think Kath Simard started getting better. This guy Drift. I started following this guy Drift Shoots, and I was listening to his story. And I saw artists having success. And then I saw this 10K thing and the 10K, like these 10K collection. All right, wait. So before I get going, we have a choice, right? We could jump. we got about, let's see, 20 minutes, 20, we got about 25, 30 minutes before the end of the show. We could jump on and scroll. Like, you want to show some of your art? I'm so past my mark right now. But
I know. I'm so sorry about that.
no,
If you
it's all
want,
right. The
we can.
conversations. It's just,
If you want, we can show the some of the artworks while talking about this, because I have my first mintings, like my first mints was back in 2018. So they're kind of following, and the art style is following the craziness since 2018 until up until now. So it is kind of following the whole timeline. So if you want, we can do that, but I don't want to take most more than your scheduled time.
yeah, no, we completely missed. We were supposed to get on the computer and start showing your art about a half an hour ago. So like the
We
con
blew up the whole schedule away.
yeah,
I'm
well, I
so
mean, the
sorry.
conversation got so good, and I didn't realize you. So you are might be one of the first people that I've had on the show that was actually here back in 2008. Like, I don't remember having anybody who was really at the beginning.
I can tell you. I can tell you one, maybe a couple of artists that were here since 2018, and one of them is Trevor Jones. Like we were, um, Trevor Jones.
Why is that name familiar?
I guess he's one of the biggest names in the NFT community.
Trevor Jones. What type of artist is he?
Traditional painter.
Okay.
Traditional painter. He's also a sculptor. He has animations, like he dabbed into digital art and animations. Now he's releasing a crypto game, which is really, really impressive. He's launching, well, he launched already his own collection with Crypto Angels. And it's amazing that they have characters, and there's a game that's attached to the collection. And it's what's interesting about this collection is that it is released on different chains at the same time. Like there is a collection for Bitcoin, there's a Ethereum, and there's the game. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, you're such a wealth of information right now that I didn't realize this
Well,
conversation was gonna get this good, right? Because I didn't know anything. I knew I was looking through your link tree and I saw that there was a lot, and you have a lot of interviews. You have a lot of NFT experience. So she's like really been embedded in this, but I did not realize the time frame that you were embedded in. You were actually here way before me. I think I was 2020, and I thought I was at the beginning. Um,
2020 is amazing, is impressive, because most of the artists started after people. I mean, summer of 2021. Some of them started 2022. Some of them started last year. So you're also an OG. Like I am just an old fart, because I've
uh,
always been on the peripheral. But it actually gave me a really nice viewer perspective of stuff. So yeah, it's a really impressive. I can tell you the story how I joined NFTs. That's a really fun one. But if you want, we can go over some of the images,
yeah, Kat. Let's. So you're gonna come back, right? We're
because
gonna.
people might think that I don't create art. So it's people might think that all I do is actually talk.
Well, you have the experience as a streamer.
Yeah.
You clearly you have the ability to stream. You came on all prepared. But what I'm doing right now is I'm setting up the screen for us to share. So hang on while we talk.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's at least let's even if it's 10, 15 minutes, let's start introducing them, right? And then we can focus more on the art. Um, when no, okay, here we go. And it's funny because I'm going through your link tree and I'm clicking on link after, and I'm like, holy shit, there is so much here. She has interviews. I was like, she's really embedded in this, and
It's way too much.
a,
It's way too much, isn't it? It's clogging.
it's a lot more knowledge than what I realized. And so when Sketch was like, she'll be a great guest for the show. And then I'm sitting looking at everything, and I'm like, holy shit! Like she really has a lot of experience in this, which would be great for all the viewers. All right, so I'm back over here at the computer. I set it up while we were talking. Why don't you take us? What do we got? We got 10:45, so we got about 20 minutes. why don't we do about a 10-minute, 15-minute tour of, and good morning, Pantia. Good morning, son. Hi, guys. I see you guys. Why don't we do a little tour of everything that, why don't you take us for a beginning? Let's say a beginning tour of how it all started with the art, and you show me where to go, and I'll go there.
If you go to my link tree, because the pin tweet is my latest mint. I want to dab into that the last, but I want to show you. If you go to my link tree, and if you find Maker's Place, Maker's Place is my first ever NFT platform. You might have to go into the section of NFT marketplaces. Yeah, Maker's Place should be the second one in that category. It's really a lot, and I've come to realize that I can't even record everything that I have. So back in 2018, one of my students, because during PhD degree, we were not licensed lecturers, but we had this requirement that we have to make a certain hours of lecturing in order to graduate. So I was assisting my professor at the time, my supervisor, and he was even giving me the chance to teach some of his students during his lectures. And it was pretty impressive because I was just a couple of years older than the students, but I was in front of them not as a student, but as a lecturer. And one of them really stood out to me. He was a really funky one. One of my colleagues, and he used to draw a lot traditionally, like pen and paper stuff, sketches, and he realized that I'm also into art and design and mostly painting, and he wanted to transfer all that knowledge in digital. And after we became friends, after I graduated, we kept on communicating, we kept on chatting, and he's really open-minded in a sense of, if there's an opportunity, and it doesn't matter what area it is, he's going to try it. It doesn't matter what the outcome will be. And he was the one who told me, hey, do you want to stream? Like, your voice is soothing. You can try, you have a nice accent. You can try and explain everything that you told me, or even paint real time using a streaming platform. But before that, he was the one who introduced me to a website, a blog website, where you write down art posts and you get paid for it. So the likes are basically giving you cryptocurrency that was attached to that blog post. That website was called Steemit. And
I remember Steemit.
remember,
Oh,
do you
yeah,
remember
I
that?
was on
This is how it
Steemit. Yeah,
started.
yeah.
So on Steemit, there is a whole art community. And that art community was later, what I was in that art community. We had a Discord server, and we were introduced to a new platform where we can upload our artworks and get this stamp of approval, is what they call it. If you click on any of if you scroll down, because these are the most recent mints, if you scroll down, you see the first very old sketches that I have on Maker's Place, and that platform was Maker's Place. If you click on any of these, we didn't have NFT as a term at the time. It takes a little longer to.
You probably have a little bit of a delay too from you watching the screen.
Yeah, probably. And any of them will have not NFT as a term, will have this fingerprint, which is proof of authenticity. I didn't even know what that means at the time, but the team was extremely nice, and they invited us, the whole art community, to try and test it out, this platform, because it was just starting. They invited us to their Discord server. They showed us the logo. They asked if we can improve the logo, or if we can give some feedback about the UI, anything that can be improved so that the platform become available public to everyone. And this is how I was introduced to crypto. they gave me, like, they were so generous that they provided us with a MetaMask wallet. Everything was paid. Like, we didn't paid even the gas fees, and that was the most impressive part. Most of these, the first 15 paintings that I uploaded, it was I didn't pay for anything. Like, they provided us with that MetaMask wallet, and also the gas fees were pennies at the time. And this is how I started.
I was gonna ask you about that. The gas fees. This is ETH, right? Makers Places,
Yep,
right?
yep. But you also have a
Oh, but this was
option.
back when ETH was like, oh my goodness.
ETH
Yeah,
was less than $100.
that's right. That's right. I
Yeah.
keep forgetting about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
see, when is this minted? If you go, because these are editions. I didn't know at the time if I should mint an edition or a one of one. I had no prior knowledge what to do with my painting. So most of these paintings are editions. So the first, when is the first edition? This might be 2019 or 2018. I don't know. The first edition should be 2018.
November 19th, 2018.
Yep. Yeah, yeah. That
Wow.
was that was my first edition. The first ever mint, I think it was October, but I don't remember which date, so I have to track down. See, this is really good that we have everything is on the blockchain. So if I forget somehow, I can just go and check out which was my first ever mint. And yeah, that's crazy.
So
And
I'm just opening up pieces of art from the beginning while you talk. That's all. I'm
you
just.
you you had to choose that one, didn't you?
Of course I did. Absolutely.
That's from the book. That's a character. That's my main character that was created based of my, well, at the time, my um impression that I wanted to have a male character that looks not as much looks physically like me, but mentally like me. But it's a male, and it's a lot stronger because I was struggling as a female. We, especially in this society, there's still a lot of old mentalities about women. So at the time, yeah, I wanted to be a man. And this is my representation of a male character, and he was my first ever created character. So that's why I minted him. And most of the paintings here are the first sketches that we did. Oh, this is a crypto logo art contest that we did back on Steemit. So
I'm flicking
uh,
through so people see.
yeah, but these are the oldest ones. If you scroll up,
This is very in the beginning.
yes, yes, this was back on Steemit even.
And now these pieces, right? So like this was way before AI, right? Because I think a lot of
Yes,
times now,
yes.
sometimes AI gets a little.
See the date of
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah. I
creation?
was gonna
Yeah.
say you signed it down at the bottom with the date.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That was from 2016. That was even prior my PhD
prior.
graduation, prior NFT, prior crypto, prior freelance, everything. Yeah,
Oh man.
that was my style. I was a huge anime fan, so that's a really, you can see that's very heavily inspired.
What do you what programs is this all Adobe?
No, I started with Photoshop, but I was always struggling because of the brushes and the way the algorithm of those brushes are is working. And I moved to Clip Studio Paint. And Clip Studio Paint was formerly known as Manga Studio. That was a software, a Japanese software specifically made for manga and anime. But later they made it public, and now it's known as Clip Studio Paint, and it can open Photoshop files. It has a lot of features that are very similar to Photoshop, and I can literally work on one file in between the both programs, because there are still features that I use in Adobe, and I'm conditioned using Adobe from my design years. But there's also a lot of art style and brushes and techniques that I can achieve only in Clip Studio Paint. So I merged both, and now I use both of them. And this is animated in After Effects. So this was a fellow streamer on the platform that I was streaming,
What
and
what platform were you streaming on?
it was called D Life. It was also uh, the community from Steemit that later decided to create a streaming platform, and they separated from Steemit. So everything started from Steemit.
Interesting that you didn't take a crack at Twitch. You see a lot of digital drawers on Twitch in the hobby section.
hmm
Yeah, I'm not a
Now
digital.
I do that. Now I do that, but Twitch just blew up so much that visibility is really, really difficult to reach. So I do a combination between art streams and gaming.
Yeah, you have to now on Twitch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you
And
have
it's
to.
still really, really difficult because Twitch is just so big.
Any thoughts on maybe giving kick a chance?
I no, no, personal reasons. I know Kick.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know Kick, but I've never streamed there.
okay.
And some of my this is really interesting. Some of the community uh, that was from D Live moved to Kick. But I prefer Twitch for now. I'm not thinking that this is the thing. When I was streaming back then, I was having a career. It was literally a streaming career. Now I'm just doing it as a hobby. So, oh, this is AI. This is already AI, but it's still following storyline from the book. And this is one of the reasons why I joined NFTs. I wanted to create and visualize the book after recovering from all those years of just giving up on this dream or
Cat,
pushing it to the side.
I think that if you're not gearing up for the future of X and X streaming, I personally I think you should be gearing up for X streaming. And
I'm considering, yes,
yeah,
I'm considering. The only thing is that I need to apply for the blue check mark. I did some research. How can I stream? Because I want to restream both on Twitch and X, but I have to be verified in order to do that. So
now
that's the thing.
this piece right here. This is a digital. This is you, right? This is you digitally drew this.
The one with the dragon, because I
Yes,
think there's a no. This is AI.
this is
This
a.
is this is AI, but I did some painting over because this is rendered in Midjourney version 4, I think,
Okay.
and the anatomy. Yeah, you know that the earlier version of Midjourney models really were struggling with anatomy at the time. So
I have a question for you.
yes,
Are you a Wallop fan? Am I
what's
saying his name right? Wallop, or is it Wlop? WLOP.
yes,
I
yes.
knew it.
They're one of my they and Art Germ,
Okay, okay,
Stanley Art Germ,
right.
Art Germ. Um, what else? I have a whole list of digital artists, but V I never know how to pronounce the Vlop or V.
Wallop. I always say
Vlop.
Wallop. Wallop.
I I have no
It
idea.
might say it, but
I have no idea how to say the name, but
yeah.
I love them. That they were my biggest inspiration, alongside with Art Germ, and someone else.
You're the first
Oh,
person that I've seen have an art. Um, you're the first person who had an art station page.
ArtStation.
Yeah.
Oh, I started DeviantArt. I don't know if can you hear me now? I
Yes.
started on DeviantArt and then moved to ArtStation.
Ah, you remember Deviant Art? Yeah, I have a
Yes,
page on
yeah.
Deviant. If you look
You
up
do?
question, yeah, question
Oh,
mark.
I haven't used that in such a long
Yeah, I
time. I
know,
forgot
right?
about.
Things have
But
changed.
you can find those earliest works in some of my commissions on DeviantArt or just sketches. That's how we all started. Yeah, we're the old generation. But now I intentionally don't post anything new on DeviantArt because they have anti-AI. See, this is how I started it. ArtStation was giving me the chance to actually show the works in progress. Um, and it was how do you call, like a recording of your progress. While X, I still show stuff. Oh, these are commissions. It was so fun. The commission for one of the streamers' puppies. Like, she was one of the big streamers there on the platform, and she had two puppies, and I painted both of them. That's so cute. But yeah, the good old times, because it really shows what I was
This is
influenced.
your beginnings here, right?
This is back in 2019, I think. Oh, you can even recognize PewDiePie, because PewDiePie was streaming on our platform for a while. I don't know if you're a fan of PewDiePie. The younger gen-
I don't know too much
the
about
young
it, but I
the
know
younger
of him.
generation knows them more. Yeah. And this is Shroud at the top. The first row, third one on the first row, is also a really big streamer on Twitch, Shroud.
First one, third. All right, I have it. I have Shroud now.
Oh,
I've
okay.
heard of their names. I've never really sat and watched anyone else, right? I usually watch artists create on Twitch. I don't usually get into the game streams because I feel like my whole life will stop. I remember, I picked up what was the game I loved? It was COD, Call of Duty,
Call of Duty.
and
Yeah.
I was always used to go into this room where I guess there's like 25 of you, free for all. And the minute I found the free for all Call of Duty room, I think I lost 6 months of my life, because I would just sit and they would kick me out of these rooms. I would sit in these rooms and see if I could like kill everybody in the room by stabbing people. But like I was nuts. Like I was there, but people would curse me out in the middle of the night, and I just I just had high kills. So like I was really into those. I said if I ever started streaming, I would forget it. My life would completely stop. From Marketplace, let me make sure I got this up. Okay.
Marketplace, maybe Foundation, because that was my main. After Maker's Foundation was my main. Oh, this is I helped with the Inner Artists Initiative banner design. They're really nice. The team is awesome, and I helped them with the design. And they even did. I did an interview with them. They bought one of my paintings through their Inner Artist Initiative program. It's amazing. But after Maker's Place, I had to, well, the craze started on a foundation, if you remember, even with the invitations,
Right,
the
right,
invites,
right.
and we were not even able to apply or get like access to the platform on its early stage. And it was really, really struggling. So I remember I actually won my invitation from an announcement tweet, like one of the people who had like 3 or 5 invites, because they were recently
Yeah, you had to get an invite from
invited.
someone else.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and then you get your personal invites. You can invite other people. So I won mine through a tweet like that, and I think they liked it because I said that I'm also a gamer, a light gamer, but I love playing Warframe, and I guess they were fans too, so they gave me an invite. So that's how, like, I think April of 2021. If you scroll up, this should be, and these are my derivatives. This is when I joined World of Women community, and the collectors from the 10K collection, they started commissioned us to make derivatives of their own uh, PFP ladies, and this is how I later moved from freelance, like working with clients outside of NFTs, but working with these collectors. I was actually meeting with them, well, in voice call. I was asking them about their preferences. I was getting to know them in order for me to execute the commission, the derivative. And that was probably my best part of NFT, because I was getting to know those collectors, and we became friends, and some of them I even consider family members, like family. That even though I don't even know if we're gonna meet, I hope we can meet one day. This was for, oh, I can't pronounce his name. Um, there was a contest. I know the very famous name. I just can't pronounce them. Um, but it's a colleague of mine or a friend of mine actually did the
Holy
sound.
shit, Cat. This is good.
Oh, this is in After Effects. So the
Damn,
idea was,
you got the animation to the beat and everything. Like this is
yeah,
serious.
I had a friend, composer who decided to make the beats, and I matched the fire to the beats. But it took me 2 weeks only to animate, and probably 3 4 days to make the painting, the initial sketch. But yeah, it was pretty cool. That was a really golden time, and we didn't have an AI, so this is all hand drawn. But
Wow.
it was for a contest. It was for a contest, and I obviously did win because there were amazing stuff. But I'm still happy that I applied because it did really improve my style.
Okay.
So many stuff. I know it's
It's
so
all right.
much.
So it's okay. Well, at least we got some art in, right? Because we're at 2 hours, and I mean, we could go more. What's up, K's Works? Hello, Mafa. How you guys doing? Um, we could talk a little bit more. I know people are super busy on Fridays with spaces and things of that nature. I don't mind. Um, we could go a few more minutes on the art, but we could probably do another whole show on the art and
Are you willing? Are you actually willing to do that?
yeah. Well, I mean, you're gonna come back for another show, right? You're
I
gonna
would love to.
yeah
No,
yeah
I would be honored to.
yeah.
That's
You're
amazing.
gonna come back on it. So like I'm trying to figure because I'm learning slowly as I'm speaking to everyone. Everybody has their own little story, right? And I want to dedicate, like, if you put, let's say you took 3 2-hour shows and you put them all together, then you would see the beginning, the middle, and then obviously the updates of what they have going on right now, right? And as people create and as their careers grow, it's a show that follows, people who come on the show and follow artists, people that, I get in the conversation. I like interesting conversations and inspiring conversations. I'm just sitting here and I remember opening up your links last night and this morning, looking at one at a time, and I'm like, holy shit. Like, this is gonna, we could go for 4 hours, and I like to let people kind of jump in, jump out, do their thing. Um, I try to keep the shows around 2 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes. If that's the case, we got about 10 minutes to go, 10, 15 minutes. So I'd like you to come back on and, maybe a few months, and then, we go over everything as an artist, let people enjoy this show. This is kind of like your introduction to them. They get to know you, you know. Um, okay, where do I want to go from here? Is there anything in particular as far as the art that you want to talk about at this moment? Something that you might have coming out, or anything of importance that you might want to show them at this moment?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. If you go back to my Twitter account
Okay.
and look at the pin tweet. So, because I was having, even though I graduated with presentations and semantic information and psychology, I myself was always struggling how to share my own story. And I was struggling how to share my book and the book that me and my colleague were writing. We kept on writing even after the graduation, even after all of the heavy blows that we were getting. We never released it as a whole product, but we kept writing stories and we kept on adding and adding more characters and more worlds to that, and it became something to escape, like a escape land. And even up to this day, we were writing for 10 years. We don't write anymore, but we were writing for many almost 10 years, and we have so many characters and stories, and I lived through all of them. But because I experienced all of this, now that I'm trying to just show a painting of one character, I don't even know how to compress all of that information and experience and emotions that they evoke in me in order to share and to make people resonate with them. So I was actually struggling how to advertise this story, the book, and the characters. And I decided to do it through a personal collection that I'm working on right now, but through my own artistic journey, through my own mindset. And this is like a limited edition piece that I minted last night on Shape. I don't know if you've tried Shape, the L2 shape,
So
layer
I
2.
was in a space yesterday where Chaz was really upset about something about the purchasing on Shape, uh,
Oh,
something with
oh, I did.
transient and something was going on, and that's the first time
I
I've heard about
oh,
this.
I don't know. I know Chaz has a as an open edition there, but I did not mint through Transient Labs. I
Okay,
minted it through Highlight,
okay,
and Highlight I had no issues, and I still have no issues on
okay,
Highlight. You only need to have only need to bridge a little bit of money. That obviously I didn't have that much, so I bridged as much as I can. But literally minting is free. Like you can see the message, like 0.00 USD. It's amazing. It's very cheap. And um, on Highlight, you can choose if you want a whole collection. You could choose if you want a limited edition, a one-on-one, or maybe you want mint a gift something for free. But what inspired me to do all this is that I wanted to share my growth in the past year. Because I've been in NFT for so long, I've been through a lot of turbulent times, a lot of highs and lows. Like the pieces that we showed earlier on Maker's Place and Foundation, those are my golden days. But after that, there was a lot of struggling because of the market crash, because of my inability to reintroduce myself because my old collectors left the space after the crash, because of my own inability to manage my own finances, and I did not withdraw the ETH before the crash in 2022. So that was another blow. So it was a roller coaster of ups and downs to which I had to adapt, and it wasn't easy with my old mindset. And this is going to be a collection that I want to introduce my journey of stripping down all of those conditioning layers that we have, the mental barriers and patterns that we grew up with, and I grew up with, and embracing who I am right now and all of the parts. And this is why the piece is called The Depths of You, but it's basically the depths of me. Accepting all of the parts, all of the characteristics, all of the traits, all of the faces that we have, including the persona, the ego, the anima, the shadow. This is based on Carl Jung's map of the soul. And
psychology, right?
the psychology, this is true psychology
That's
and
right.
research in the purest research in art form that I want to show. I want to show myself, and I'm a whole world of these elements that we just discussed the past 2 hours. And this collection is going to be a reflection of that, and this is what I wanted to just show. And probably this is the best way to end the event, the space. And I cannot thank you enough for inviting me, and I will be extremely honored and blessed if we have another one.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. I feel
it's
like
gonna
you're gonna
be
end up being everyone's resident therapist, to be truthful.
I would be delighted to, but I really need to help myself first in order to be eligible to help others. But if anyone hear my voice and hear my thoughts and resonate with them, I am extremely honored. This is my reason. This is my being. And there's a book by uh, Viktor Frankl, A Man in Search of a Meaning. That is the father of logotherapy. And it took me probably 15 years to find myself and find my reason and meaning. And those do shift with time. But I think this is my reason. And I think I found my meaning. Not just create art, but tell the stories and teach others through my art and through my whole perception of the world.
I feel like you're gonna end up becoming Dr. Uma next. where you help other artists find their way. I don't know. I didn't realize there was a deep psychology here, and now getting to speak to you and talk, and it's just a fascinating conversation. I hate the word interview because I feel like if I'm interviewing you, I feel like interviews are general questions, right? You know what? Hang on. Yeah. I feel like where did you start? How did you learn? What do you like to do? And I feel like every artist is different on the show, and as the conversation develops, the conversation goes in different directions. Not always the same. I try not to have a questionnaire. I try not to, because I feel like when I get wrapped up into questions, I'm asking the same questions to everybody. And I don't like that. I like when the conversation starts to turn because I hear something. I'm like, wait a second, did you say you're diving into the psychology of artists, right? And like that'll detour us for a whole half an hour because my background in psychology, and I'm like, wow, this just got interesting, right? And
I can actually learn from you because I started from entirely different background. So my design dabbed into psychology, and now you're from psychology is dabbing into art, and that's even. I think it's even more impressive.
it's let me tell you, it's and like you, right? There's a lot of things that I had to work out and rewire. And so when you speak about the past, the technology, moving through the period, getting used to the technology, and then realizing how much opportunity is out there for artists, and younger ones don't realize it, right? But the older ones are like, wait a second. Some see it, some don't. The evolution, right? You have the chance to evolve.
Yeah.
And I think the ones that decide to evolve are going to become very successful. And then the ones that just, well, that's not for me, they're just going to kind of plateau and become content and stay there. Kat. So yeah. Let's do this. What's the best way for people to reach out to you? I see. Hang on one second. I see all you guys. Monica's. Yeah, you could see the show. The show is not going anywhere. It's here. It's on Facebook. It's on YouTube. So you can watch it at any time. You have some comments dropping here, and I know Kat likes to. She seems to be good at multitasking, so I'll let her say hello to everybody because she has the
No.
show open. But I'll read these comments anyway. Monica says these works are amazing. Kay's works, they are amazing. Um, Pantia, she's very happy to see you up here. And then Monica, yes, we okay. So
Monica is one of the sweetest souls. It's one of the first people that I met in NFTs, and we've been together ever since. We have a collection, a collaboration. We actually went through that on Foundation, so it's really really emotional when she joins every time. But thank you so much for everyone who's coming here. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and I'll be delighted to join you again, Mark. And whenever you're free, because you are more available than no, you're actually more busier than me. I'm more available than you. So whenever you have the time, we can schedule for the after 2 months from now.
I like to, you know what I like to do? So I like to, usually there's a month where I'm like, okay, now it's time to, venture back and see where some of the past guests are at. And so that's, I start plugging it. So I leave a certain fraction of shows for new artists. I leave a certain fraction of shows for past artists. And then I leave, if somebody has a big project coming out or something. So I like to go back and dig up, and says, hey, what's up? Oh, you've been on the show twice, it's like, so we got to catch up. What's happening? And for those who doesn't, and so I feel like, yeah, don't worry about it, Kat. You're coming back on because I have so many more
Oh,
questions for
thank
you.
you. Thank you. I'll be happy to answer. As long as I know the answer, I'll be happy to. And I'm happy when I'm useful. So that's a really, really might not be a best trait characteristics, but I love it.
I
And
feel like you should be drawing. I feel like you should have a stream. I feel like it should be like Dr. Umer's art advice. And
Yeah,
I feel like you should be drawn. An artist would jump on and be like, "Kat, tell me how I should handle this, and tell me how I should handle it." I feel like you just have all
I've
the
done this.
makings. Yeah, you have the
Yeah,
makings of it, right? And
I've done this. Yeah, I've done this so many times on stream, but I would love to dive into Twitter stream because I think it's gonna be another type of experience with the audience here on Twitch. Because no, compared to Twitch, I don't have that much audience there because my community just broke down a year and a half ago. But here is my community on it's here on
right,
X, and I think
right.
this is gonna be the best opportunity.
Yes.
Um, Something that I wanted to mention about the contacts, Twitter. That is my main platform that I'm, and from there you can see the link tree. I'm basically everywhere. I just don't have the time to update everything because I'm one man show and one warrior, It's
Where?
one
Where?
man
So
one
so
man army.
so the best way to contact you, the best way to reach out
Twitter.
to you is
It's
Twitter,
Twitter.
right?
Twitter, and from Twitter, I can point them to the marketplaces. I'm also using Hug a lot recently. Deca.
Hug is a great platform.
Hug is amazing, and now you have a marketplace as well where you can sell stuff, not just
Where's
promote.
your hug?
And
Where's your hug? Hang on.
I don't know. This is so many. I can recommend you someone that I think you would love to interview, and that is it's my friend Riri. I call her Riri, Lotus Queen, because like
Here we
in
go.
Cyrillic, we don't have Riri, we have rrr, we have very nice purring sound. So me and Riri used to have a space together, and she would call me Dr. D, and I would call her Professor, marketing professor, because
Wait a second. Somebody else calls you Dr. D?
yes, yes, you're not the only one.
See what I'm saying? And not
Yeah,
only that, but you're one of the first few artists that I've seen who actually has a logo on their artwork. You sign your artwork, and I like that. You have the little K down at the bottom, and I noticed that it's just so much
K and O, surrounded by O with a
yeah.
little bit of,
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
that's the O.
oh, oh,
That's the O.
oh. All right, all right. See,
Logo.
this is great things. Like I want to talk about why artists should be signing there. I remember when I used to shoot photos, I was very strict about having my name and my logo. And some magazines were like, "Well, we don't do that." And I'm like, "Well, you don't get to print my art." Well, no, it's a photo. That's not the rules in photo. Listen, I don't care what the rules
Doesn't
were.
matter. Yeah,
This
it
is what
doesn't
I
matter.
want, right?
And here's the problem. Here's the problem. Before NFTs, if you upload anything on digital, in the digital space, you have no
That's
control
right.
over
That's
who's
right.
gonna download it. And if you don't have a some kind of a watermark or a logo, they can even delete that. They can just crop the image and sign them as their own. So it was crazy, but prior NFTs and crypto.
Question. So the year, what is it? The NFT yearbook.
Yes.
I was just curious. It sounds like so. This book that you guys wrote and then created characters for. It sounds like this is the book that's not gonna die. Like you are determined to bring this to life, you and your friend. And so I want more on that. Right? Not now, but the next show. I need
I would
more.
be delighted to.
Yeah.
I would be delighted to. It's called the Inexplicit Project
Okay.
because at the time we didn't even know how to title it, but it was an inexplicit for us. It was a project that we started, and we didn't know how it will come up, and look how much we've came to create. So yeah, I would love to, but the whole another space, and I don't even know how to start with that.
I
So
don't worry. I'll guide you. We'll be all right. Instagram, is it worth showing?
I haven't updated it in a while.
That's crazy.
Instagram.
I have lost faith in Instagram as well.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So
Yeah,
I don't
I
upload
try to
it.
make a post. All right, I'm gonna open this back up so we can close out this show. All right, hang on one second. Let me get back to this double screen. There we go. Full screen. Let me shut the webcam off. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. All right. Kat. We told them how to reach out to you. You said your ex is the best way to reach out to you. We did get a chance to go over all of your schooling, the beginning, very thorough and very deep dive into all of that, which was very interesting. I appreciate you for opening up. saw that you did a ton of interviews, and I was reading and skimming through everything, and I'm like, holy shit. Like, there's a lot to go through. You're not the first, and you're not the last. It feels like every artist I jump on here, there's just not enough time to go through everything. Some careers are very young. Your career happens to be very established, and there's a lot to it. So this makes for a good chance to bring you back for another show. Um, okay, having said all of this, before we close out, uh, message, right? There's a lot of new artists hitting the scene. You have a lot of experience. You've seen this since 2018. You've been through the ups. You've been through the downs. You're someone I can ask this to. Do you feel that this is an area or a scene that's going to die out or get stronger? Do you feel that this is something worthwhile that artists should be taking a look at and looking at this and a message, right? What's your message to all the artists out there that might just be stumbling into this scene for the first time? Yeah, a closeout message, right? And
Oh,
because you've seen a lot. So a lot of people jump into the space. I guess the point I'm trying to make is a lot of people jump into the space for a year or maybe 6 months and it don't work out. Maybe it's slow, maybe it's the bear, and then they bounce. And nah, that's bullshit, right? I'm going back to tradition, and so you see a lot of artists disappear, and then you never hear from them again, and then maybe they go back to Web 2 and go back to, but they don't take advantage of what's taking place right now. And I think you're a very good person that could possibly have a very good message for everyone that might jump into the space and you know what, this isn't for me, or it's not working out, and it might just be a slow period. Like you said, ups and downs. You had to trudge through a lot of slow times. So maybe just some thoughts for all the artists out there that might jump into the space and yeah, I'll let you kick off with your last message.
no, thank you.
Yeah.
Uh, it might be a little longer, so I hope I will try to be as
No,
concise as
no,
possible.
take your time and close
But
out the right way.
it's not easy. Nothing is easy in this life. But I want to share about everyone is this is an amazing technology. This is an important technology in our lives, and being part of it, being part of this movement, I think it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. And maybe not anyone will believe that, maybe not anyone will follow that mindset, but it definitely needs people who truly believe that they can make a change. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. Times are different. Doesn't matter where you graduated. Doesn't matter what you've worked. What it matters is if you have the mindset to embrace the new opportunity and work hard for that, to improve and bring value. Because something that I've noticed, the people who are leaving the space first are the people who are falling under the impression that they have to compare to other people, that their success has to be fast and they have to achieve everything all at the same time. Everyone runs or everyone walks with their own pace. Everyone's success is truly personal and it needs to stay like that because comparison is going to eat your perception of success because you're always going to look everywhere else unless here inside and here what's in your mind. Doesn't matter where you're coming from because everyone is bringing something new to the table. Everyone has their own perception of life. Everyone has their own knowledge, skills, understanding, and can always tell something that the others, and including me, haven't heard before. So, this is one of the reasons why we are best to work as a community. It's not a solo act. It's a group. It's a community type of environment. And um, in order for you to achieve success, create value, and don't be afraid to try new stuff. That's how you will attract the success. You're not gonna run after it because it's not gonna happen. And don't be afraid of failure because failure and mistakes are the best way to learn and improve. And don't feel grudges, don't feel and don't hold the grudge or don't feel sad or regretful about past events because their time is over, and they're where they should be in the past. The power of letting go of all of that is going to make space for you to open up for new opportunities and for new ways, chances, and new options for you to achieve even new heights that you've never even dreamed before. So don't be afraid to even try. There's nothing bad will happen if you try. It's only going to be something better and unexpected. And I've always thought that I need to be grounded. I need to be uh, having this face persona, like a mask. But no, no. You can be fluid as you want. You can flow with the events. You can flow with life and with nature, and you can just express yourself and be true to yourself in the best possible way. Doesn't run after other people, doesn't run after others' success. Your success is the most important part, and staying true and thankful, and just keep experimenting and keep smiling, because there's always going to be a reason to smile. And with that, I have a surprise for you, Mark.
Go ahead.
Yes,
Go ahead.
I'm ready with my song.
You didn't even give me a chance to ask.
Oh, sorry, sorry, because it was the best kind of like flow with my sentence.
Okay, okay. So, Kat, every artist gets to pick their closing song. Go ahead.
I have my own. Where would you like me to send the link?
You can send the link in the DMs of X. I'll bring it up through there.
Okay.
You
And
want to tell everybody what it is?
yes, there's always a reason to smile, and the song that I chose is "Happy" by Pharrell
By
Williams.
Farrah. All right, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, good closeout song. And especially good for a Friday. Good to get people up before the weekend. All right. I like it. I like it. You're very positive. You must believe in the power of manifestation.
I'm working towards that right now. I'm working towards that.
Oh man, I could really
Vi-
turn you on to some stuff with that.
visualizing, and manifestation, and don't be afraid. And like, yeah, don't be afraid to believe in your success. And
Have you come across the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill yet?
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Did you read the do you did you get
I
through
don't
the
remember. I don't remember much of it 'cause it's been years since I read it.
Are you a
But
reader, or or do you ever do you dabble with audio books at all?
I'm a reader. I'm a reader, but recently I started listening as well because it's easier for me to write down. I'm writing down notes. So reading a book actually takes way longer for me because I'm taking notes, and I have notebooks filled with stuff that I'm extracting, the knowledge that I'm extracting from most of the books that I'm interested in.
So so I have the audio version of Napoleon Hill Think and Grow Rich. And somebody turned me on to it a long time ago. They gave me an audio version in that book. All the information in that book changed my life. So if you'd like, I could send you the audio version.
I would
It's
be delighted.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Just yeah, I could set that up on I could put that on Google Drive for you to download. But I have a whole collection of audio books about manifestation, and let me put that together, and I can send you that link. And those are
Thank you.
things you should definitely, yeah. I'm probably about, I would say, 15 years ahead um, on that. That was one of the very first things someone turned me on to, and power of the mind. You change your surroundings, right? It all comes down to what we think is what we attract, and we could literally think ourselves into anything that we want. Visualization, meditation.
Do you
But
know
Kat,
why? Do you know why? Oh, sorry. I
no,
just
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
You know why? Well, every day we have between 30 and 90,000 thoughts that are coming through our minds. That's scientifically proven. You can Google that. And each thought can generate emotion, which means emotion can generate those like endorphin, and those what are those? Uh, the chemical processes in your whole body. So one thought can
You
actually
had it
make
right.
you,
Endorphins.
yeah, one thought can make you either rich or poor, healthy or um, someone who's dealing with health issues. Because this is how powerful our thoughts are. And I didn't believe that before until I started researching about it. And there is absolute truth about that, the visualization and the changing the mindset, change your mental patterns in order to change your perception of life. And then life changes by itself.
And a lot of times we don't realize, but when we were younger, we were programmed to think a certain way. And then you get to a point where you realize this, and you realize there's a lot of older thoughts that might have been programmed into your brain that you have to break through in order to create these new thoughts. You can do it by visualization, meditation. We'll go on for hours about this. But I will get those books for you, Kat. What I
Thank
did
you.
want to say is I want to thank you for coming on the show. I look forward to our next show. And there was a lot here to unpack, and there's still a lot more to go. So I look forward to our next show. But aside from all of that, I want to thank you for your time, your knowledge, and I want to thank you for sharing your knowledge with everybody who's watching. I should have asked people if they had any questions for you, but I mean, the conversation just got so intense that we're not even going to have time. So I just want to say thank you very much for coming on the show and sharing your knowledge, your experience, and everything with everyone. Next show, we'll have a better chance to go really do a deep dive into your art and finish up our conversation. Um, I wanted to say thank you very much, Kat.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you for giving me this like 2.5 hours of your life, and everyone who's watching, spending that their precious time, because time is a resource, the precious resource that we have today. And hope you have a wonderful rest of the week, wonderful weekend. Stay healthy, stay strong, stay motivated, and hope to see you soon. I hope you were, um, I don't know, excited, and hope this conversation was useful to other people. Thank you, Mark, again. Thank
You're
you.
you're welcome, Kat. Welcome to the HOP family. And guess what? You're free to go. I will close out and take it from here. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, y'all. A little longer than usual, but that's all right. I'd take the show another 2 hours, but I like to small chunks at a time, small chunks at a time. That's how you grow. I feel like 2 hours is the perfect little conversation. Sometimes it goes a little later. I know we could probably go on for another 2 hours, but next show gives everybody something to look forward to. And we also get to see how artists grow and how they build and how how they develop, and I like that over time. The show's not going anywhere, and it's dedicated to artists, and it just seems to keep growing. As the show grows. So on that note, once again, a big shout out to Kat. Big shout out to Sketchlight for Super Community. She's the one that suggested that Kat would make an excellent guest for the show, and she was right on point with that information. So, quick thank you to Sketch for pointing me in the direction of Kat. And quick thank you to Kat for coming on, spending her time, and especially sharing her knowledge, because knowledge is gold. So on that note, that ends this week. Next week, and this begins October. So towards the end of the month, we're going to be celebrating Halloween with some Halloween guests. But before we do that, we have a whole bunch of guests. I'll get the schedule out so everybody knows October. A whole bunch of new artists coming on in October, and we have a few visits from past artists. Also, what's next? What's the AI is back. And I should have said, let me see if she signed out. But I think Kat would make a great person for an AI show. So I'm going to talk about getting her
I'm
on.
here.
Oh,
I'm
you're
here.
still here? All right, yeah.
Yeah.
So Kat, you got to come on AI. We do AI on Wednesdays.
Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to. I can even share my knowledge about the artificial neural networks
Oh
compared
yeah. So
to
I think
the
you.
human,
Yeah,
the
I
human
think.
one.
Okay, I think you'd be great for that. So it's art intelligence, right?
Oh,
Yeah, all right.
I
So
love that. I love that. I would be happy and honored to join. Thank you. Thank you for the invite.
okay. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to you about getting on that show. But all right, guys. So Art Intelligence is back. I think next week, and then the week after, and then it sounds like Kat's gonna jump on. So we're back to sharing the knowledge on Wednesdays. And then we're all booked up for October, halfway through November already. So the next set of invites will be going out this weekend, next week. You guys will see the schedule for October come out. We're already filled for October. And then we'll be working on sketches, super community shows, and those might take place on Wednesday. So I think Galleria will be one of the first shows up with all the 6 artists talking about their art and their community. And did I miss anything? Oh yeah, up next, 1 o'clock, TGIF with Sun and Alina. So you guys know how that works. No shill, just chill. Just a bunch of us in a room talking like friends. And so that's always a good time. That's actually my favorite show of the week to jump into because it's Friday, it's over. So on that note, y'all, that's the show. And a little bit longer than usual, but rightfully so. A lot of good information. So, you guys, it's Friday. You know what? We got the weekend. I want to wish everybody a great Friday. Stay up, stay positive. And sounds like we got a great song for Friday. So, Kat picked this awesome song, and let's bring this link up. Yeah, good show, great show. That was a damn good show. Let's see. Let me bring up. All right, here we are. We got the link here. All right, this is gonna kick in. All right, y'all. Stay up, stay positive. It's Friday. It's the weekend. Everybody relax. It's a good time to do art. I always feel like the weekend is a great time to do art. And on that note, big thank you to everyone who showed up. Let me say thank you to everybody here. Pantia, thank you very much for popping in. Son, thank you for being a part of the show. Mafa, Kay's Works, Monica's, I get everybody. And of course, Katalina and Sketch, thank you guys. Great show. And I'll see all you guys on the next one on Monday night. Till then. It's the weekend, y'all.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say.
Gonna be a good weekend.
Sunshine, she's here. You can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along
And that's it. We'll see all you guys on Monday. Till then.